The presentation of the colors by the Emmanuel Missionary Baptist Church Boy Scout Troop 118. You may be seated. It's so funny. The minute I said you may be seated, it's like I said, you may start talking. That's hilarious. All right, my turn. Good morning. I'd like to introduce you to your Master of Ceremonies today. John Register is an All-American college athlete. While trying out for the Olympics in 1994 or 96, I can't remember which, he hit a hurdle wrong and ended up having to have his leg amputated shortly thereafter. Since that time, he's become a multiple Paralympic medalist in sports that he didn't compete in when he had two legs. He has a silver medal in swimming, and I'm actually not sure what his other medal is in. Mr. Register is an inspiration to me. He has his own podcast called The New Normal, and he is your Master of Ceremonies this morning. Please welcome John Register. Would Tino Emerson please meet Vicki, who's going up that hill? Good morning. Good morning. I'm going to get this out of the way.
Thank you, Judge Walter. How's everybody doing this morning? It is a great Saturday morning in beautiful Colorado Springs, Colorado. It is about changing our perspectives today. I love this conference every year. This is the way we kick off the new year. You see, we often have to have our perspective shifted, our perspective changed, and I had to have mine changed as well. When I was swimming in the 1996 Paralympic Games and I was watching closed circuit television, one of my All-American honors when I was at the University of Arkansas was in the long jump. I jumped about a distance of 27 feet, 2 inches. And as I was watching closed circuit television, the camera was zooming in on a gentleman on the long jump runway over in the athletes, where the athletes were competing in athletics at the Paralympic Games. And this guy had an artificial leg above the knee amputation like myself. And I was intrigued by this. And as the camera began to zoom in and pan in on him, he began to make his way down the long jump runway. The entire crowd, they were cheering, they were clapping for him as he made his way faster and faster down the long jump runway, and he hit the takeoff board. He leapt into the air, and at the apex, the height of his flight, his artificial leg flew off. Now, I'd never seen this before. He landed here, and his artificial leg landed about 3 feet up in front of him, and the whole crowd went dead silent. You know, like that movie Home Alone, Macaulay Culkin? And that long jumper, knowing that all eyes were on him, quickly shifted gears, pointed to that official and said, "Now, where are you going to measure my jump from? From right here? Well, my leg landed up there." And I said, that's a brilliant attitude to have. And that began this whole process of me shifting my mind and shifting my perspective on what I thought might be possible. Why was I in the swimming pool when I was really an All-American in track and field, and one of those disciplines was the long jump? So I had a leg made for running, and then 4 short years later, wound up winning the silver medal in the long jump in Sydney, Australia. Now, I say that because this is the embarkation of 2018 and a place where you can begin to shift your new normals and shift into a mindset of what you want to accomplish today in this environment, to have a chance to meet a lot of individuals who are going to be pouring into you to show you what is possible in life. So with that, let's meet our first guest presenter. She is the president of Colorado College and a leading scholar in the field of economics of higher education. And after receiving her MA and PhD in economics from Duke University, this young lady joined the faculty at Colgate University in 1991, where she also served as department chair, associate dean of the faculty, and senior advisor to the president. Before becoming president to Colorado College, this young lady was provost and professor of economics at Wake Forest University. Please welcome our first presenter, Dr. Tiefenhaller, the provost over at Colorado College. Doctor.
Thank you, John, for that introduction, especially the young lady part. I appreciate that. And thank you to Judge Walter and her committee for their excellent work in organizing the 11th Annual Summit on Educating Children of Color. It's my great pleasure as president here to welcome you all to Colorado College. I am super impressed that you are all up bright and early on a Saturday morning. Your presence here tells me that you're a smart and ambitious group. It also signals that you're serious about investing in your education and your future. For that, I commend you, because investing in your education is the very best investment that you can make. Did you know that going to college and getting your degree, whether it be a 2-year or 4-year degree, is the absolute best financial return that you can earn? A study from the New York Federal Reserve indicates that the net return from a college degree is 15%, increasing your earnings by 15% for the rest of your life. Even the stock market can't generate that kind of return. To put it in dollar terms, college graduates earn about $17,500 more a year than those with high school diplomas. And the benefits are not just financial. People who continue their education beyond high school are healthier throughout their lives and report to be happier and more fulfilled. When I talk to our alumni, those who've graduated from Colorado College, whether it be the class of 1967 or 2017, they report that the time they spent in college was one of the most transformative of their lives. They believe it was worth it, not only because of the salary they're making or how quickly they got their first job after graduation, or if they're successful or famous. They believe it was worth it because it taught them how to think, it nurtured a love of learning, and helped them to find their passion. They made wonderful friends and gained incredible mentors that are lifelong relationships. If you look around this campus today, you can tell that a lot of people are committed to getting you to believe in the importance of continuing your education and helping to make it a reality. Hundreds of people volunteered to help make this summit happen. Your parents, principals, counselors, and teachers made sacrifices for you to be here. Judge Walters and the 4th Judicial District partnered with more than 40 organizations to make this experience possible for you. Your school districts and nonprofits like the El Pomar Foundation and the Emmanuel Missionary Baptist Church public organizations like the El Paso County Department of Human Services, and companies from Walmart to Louis Pizza. Why? Why do so many people believe in the importance of this event? Why do they care so much about that you continue your education? Well, certainly because they know that getting an education will help you succeed, that it's a great investment for you, but also because they know that getting more people to college is a great investment for all of us. Having an educated population will result in a healthier, economically stronger, more civically active community. So convincing and helping you invest in your education is good for all of us. The city of Colorado Springs, the state of Colorado, our country, and our world. This summit is in its 11th year because it's a great investment for all of our futures. We at Colorado College are committed to this event because of our shared belief in you, the young people of our community, as key to our nation's future. Because of its importance, I want to thank everyone, Judge Walters, those 40 organizations, and hundreds of volunteers, including our wonderful CC event staff, Brenda Soto and Jeff Hartman, for making it happen. I hope that you will also thank them, but more importantly, make their commitment pay off by engaging in this day. Let me wind up by saying that I know it isn't easy. Getting to college is hard work. You have to work hard in high school. You have to figure out those college applications, standardized tests, and financial aid forms. Then when you get to college, the work really starts. It's hard. You have to read and reread, write and rewrite, fail and try again. But most things that are worthwhile aren't easy, and there are lots of people who want to help you. Maybe you'll come to Colorado College or to Pikes Peak Community College, the Air Force Academy, the University of Colorado at Colorado Springs, or one of the other 30-plus schools in Colorado, or one of the thousands of colleges across the country. You can get there. Make the commitment, work hard, ask for help from all the people who want to support you, and grab those opportunities that open doors to your future. This summit is one of those opportunities, so take advantage of what it offers. Now it's my great pleasure to introduce Colorado College student Antonio Soto, a member of the class of 2019. From an early age, Antonio wanted to be a Colorado College student. Antonio spent 2 years in the Educating Children of Color Summit, learning all about college and what it would take to get there. However, when he first applied to CC, he was not admitted. Antonio decided that he would attend a college in Chicago for a year in order to prove that he could be successful academically. While trying to enhance his academic resume, Antonio discovered his passion, thinking about what makes the meaning in individuals' lives. He came to understand that everyone has gifts that are unique and that his own gifts of influence and kindness could not be wasted. Throughout his first year at college in Chicago, he dedicated himself to making other people's lives better. Antonio's self-recognition of his gifts came from studying philosophy, in which the mantra, "Know thyself," is discussed. Antonio also realized that his fight to become a part of the Colorado College community was not only about accomplishing his own goals, but using his gifts to contribute. When Antonio applied to transfer to Colorado College, he was admitted, and now he is a proud CC student seeking a degree in philosophy and psychoanalysis. He has 2 jobs on campus, one as a student manager at the Werner Center, and the other as a student worker for the athletics department. Antonio plans on graduating from Colorado College in the spring of 2019. Please welcome one of our wonderful students, Antonio Soto.
Thank you, President Tiefenthaler, for your warm welcome. Hello and good morning. I am overjoyed to see so many young and enthusiastic faces at the Educating Children of Color Summit. It is exciting to see how much the summit has grown over the past several years. I know both the joy of being a participant as well as the honor of being a panelist. So I would like to take a moment and say thank you to all those involved in this summit. From the organizers to the volunteers, thank you. We appreciate you. I would like to begin by telling you a little bit more about myself. I was born and raised in a middle-class home in Colorado Springs by 2 parents, Brenda and Craig. I have 4 siblings, Andrea, Craig II, Angelo, and Angelica. And yes, I am the middle child. I grew up in a house of 8 with the occasional cousin living with us. I would spend my summers mostly living at my grandma's house, where I learned some valuable life lessons, such as always treat your elders with respect, nothing beats hard work, yard work builds character, and never drink the last soda in the house. A funny story for another day. These lessons continue to aid me throughout my life, especially in my college career. Currently, I'm a first semester senior, seeking a degree in philosophy and a minor in psychoanalysis. I have 3 jobs, 2 on campus, and the other working as a basketball coach at my former high school, so I'm a pretty busy guy. Nevertheless, I still find time to complete all my schoolwork, maintain relationship with friends, and contribute to my college community. I have also made time to create and run my own successful clothing brand, Legacy, with an S, which promotes family and making other people's lives better. I'm able to accomplish all these things because I have this mindset. There are 24 hours in a day. You only need 8 hours to sleep. Therefore, you have 16 hours each day to do what you need to do in order to be successful. You have no excuses. Moreover, there are many obstacles and challenges in my life that I have had to face that have pushed me to adapt my own philosophy on how to live my life. One being when I lost a very close friend of mine in high school to a motocross accident. I learned that life is too short to be taken for granted. We should enjoy every second, minute, hour, and day because they are blessings. By my friend's passing, I was also reminded that I should smile every day, even if I am not in a good mood, because my smile can change someone else's day. By my friend's passing, I was also reminded that I should, sorry about that. Another difficult challenge I faced was changing someone else's day. Another difficult challenge I faced was being denied admission to Colorado College. From this, I learned nothing is given, it must be earned. But the greatest things in life are not easily attained. They are something to be struggled and worked hard for, which brings me to the 4 things I want to express to you this morning that I believe will help you in your college career, but also will assist you in becoming a better individual in your own life. These 4 concepts are the basic building blocks of how I try to live my life every day. First, nothing beats hard work. You can be the most talented individual in the world, but if you do not have the work ethic, then you are wasting your time and talent. Hard work will also make you stand out from the crowd, because believe it or not, many individuals in this world do not work hard at all. So if you make it a habit of giving your all 100% of the time to everything in your life, then you are already above the majority of the population. Second, be persistent. Never let anyone decide your future. You are in control of your own destiny, not them. Do not let your failure be the deciding factor in all your decisions. All successful people have failed, but the difference between successful people and those who have failed is one's ability to regroup and try again. If you fall down in life, don't fall on your back. Land on your face. That way you can push yourself up and try again. Next, know and use your unique God-given talent. Everyone has something that they are great at and makes them special. These talents are unique to them and should not be wasted. Similarly, know your weaknesses, because if you are ignorant to them, then that will be your downfall. Once you know what you need to work on, embrace those weaknesses and turn them into strengths. Trust me, you will never run out or perfect those faults. Lastly, my biggest piece of advice to you today is to always do what is right. This entails showing respect towards everyone you meet, always being a team player, being humble, being on time, taking care of yourself, mind, body, and spirit. Be an individual who keeps to their word. Your word is your bond. Never be selfish, jealous, envious, or egotistical. And finally, do your best in everything you do. If you can do all these things every day, then I promise you will be successful in creating your own legacy. Thank you for having me today. It is an honor and a pleasure to speak to you all, and I hope to see you later. I hope to see you at my panel later today. Thank you.
All right, give it up one more time for our two speakers. I want Dr. Tiefenthaler to come back up real quick. And Judge, I don't see the slip of paper here. We want to give away some money. We're going to give away $500. Y'all waking up now, ain't you? Y'all, and the number is, y'all looking for your tickets. So Dr. Tiefenthaler, who is our first winner right here? Educational gift for $500.
Joshua Advance.
Come on down, Joshua. Are you here?
Joshua Advance.
All right.
Is he here?
He's up top.
There he
He's up
is.
top. Come on down, Joshua. And as you're coming down, we're going to do a picture with you down here. We're going to keep this show on rolling because you're way up there. I don't know why. Was you late or something? You need to be down here. You knew you were going to win. So as Joshua makes his way down here, I want to introduce our next guest speaker. Are y'all know what really is going on? Do you know what's going on here today? No, not really. We're going to come back and share with you, why you're in this room and why this conference is so critically important for you to understand what your opportunities are coming up from the state of Colorado, Colorado Springs. And I had a great chance to interview Judge Walter yesterday on my podcast, and some amazing things. So maybe we'll get Judge Walter to come up here so she can kind of go through some of those questions I had and what drives her passion for this conference. So once again, give it up for Joshua coming down here right now. What's up? Joshua woke up. He got that $500 educational scholarship. What would? We're going to take a picture real quick. Come on up, Joshua. Go right here. All right. That's good.
Oh, I'm done. Okay.
Has anybody ever seen a TEDx before? Yeah. Awesome presenters, awesome speakers that are there, have a new thought, a new idea, new ingenuity that comes. So our next speaker, when I look at her resume, it's like, what am I even doing with my life? At 14 years old, this young entrepreneur, award-winning author, illustrator, animator, and TEDx speaker, 14 years old, y'all. When she was 12, this young lady founded her company, N3 Cartoons, and wrote 2 award-winning graphic novels. She was 12 when she did that. Her novels were The Adventures of Kate the Cat, a winner of the 2016 Moonbeam Children's Book Award, and Kate the Cat's Christmas Mystery, 2017 Purple Dragonfly Book Award, honorable mention in the Youth Author Fiction category. She is currently writing her 3rd graphic novel, commissioned by a nonprofit human service organization, the Douglas Elbert Task Force, dedicated to providing assistance to people in serious economic need, at risk of homelessness, or in similar crisis. She was the youngest speaker ever at the Ignite Denver 26 event, first annual Transportation Girl Luncheon, and TEDx Colorado Springs. Please welcome Nicole Nagelli. Give it up. God.
Okay, hello? Okay, now it's working. Hi, everybody. Ooh, hi, everybody. So, as you transition from a child to a teen, people start asking you this question. So, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'm always like, I don't know. Now, you might be a person who knows the answer to that question, and I applaud you for that because most people in their life have no idea what they're going to be or do as a career. But when you don't know the answer, you start getting asked that question again and again. Not only from parents, teachers, or your friends, but from yourself. That question seeps into our minds, and we start wondering, what do I like? What do I want to do? Will I be able to do it for the rest of my life? Because whatever job or career you choose has the potential to define you. It becomes what you could be known for. Crazy, right? I mean, your job could be your legacy. Whoa. So in my TEDx speech, I talk about how anyone can create a lasting legacy using 3 things: passion, vision, and action. These 3 things can basically help you achieve anything. If you have the passion, the drive, the motivation to do something or learn something you love doing, then it doesn't even feel like work. Howard Thurman, author and civil rights leader, said, "Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and then go and do that. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive." Vision is probably the most underrated out of all of these. It's essential for you to make big decisions and be a better person. If you know what kind of job you want to do, then you know what classes to pick in high school and college. So if you begin with the end in mind, or at least a general part of the end in mind, then you can make a way for yourself to get to where you want to be. The third thing you need is action. If you have passion and vision, but you don't act on it, then what you're doing is useless. But if you take action, you're making the world a better place for everyone, and you'll be happy because you're actually doing something. Oh, so this is one of my favorite stories. So Steve Jobs, when he was a teenager, every day would wake up, look at himself in the mirror, and ask himself this very important question. If today was the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm about to do today? If the answer is no for too long, it means you need to change something. It means you need to take action. Education is incredibly important to succeed at pretty much anything. You need to know stuff to do stuff. We have access to knowledge that other people might not have. Why throw that away when you have no idea how beneficial it could be? Imagine if you've never read a book, or seen a movie, or learned anything new, or never listened to your favorite song. You'd be a completely different person, right? Doing something new, reading that book, learning a new skill, those experiences shape our lives. They're what make us who we are. We all carry bits and pieces of others, writings and stories inside us. We're living stories made up of inspiration. Education makes us think. Education makes us independent. It makes us us. We are the next generation. We're the ones who will take care of the world. And you know what? That's not too far from now, because we're next. There's no better time than right now to start making a difference. And it doesn't matter how old or young you are. Because look around at the world around you. It's not as bad as it could be, but it's not as good as it should be. You know what the missing piece is? The missing piece is you. You and your story. You and your collection of stories you know. Knowledge you've gained. You and your ideas. Say it, do it, show it. Learn all you can. Soak it all up in your head and use it. Because that's how you make a difference. So, passion, vision, and action. So you and me, let's go make a difference. Thank you.
Great job. That's awesome. I mean, wasn't she fantastic? So I want to kind of recap real quick on some of the things that Nicole said, the passion, the vision, the action. And, one of the things that we talk about is that most people, why is it that a diet begins and they can't complete that diet at the beginning of the year, or they want to get back into some type of exercise and they don't push through? Because a lot of things she was talking about, we have the passion and we have the vision to do it, but we don't commit to the action. And I think that's because people do not act because they have not, the pain that's there has not promoted itself past the promise that we make to ourselves. So what's the promise that you're making to yourself this year? And what are the action steps that you can do to actually make that happen? We have to develop some type of a ritual. That ritual then creates our rhythm, and that rhythm will elevate us to our rise. So think about that as you're going through this day on what is it that you really want to do. What she was saying was, when somebody asked that question, what do you want to be in life? I'm still trying to figure that thing out because there is no linear path to our success. So our next presenter that we have today is a filmmaker and a junior at Sierra High School, District 2 in the house. Her film, Different Colors, was created in conjunction with the Sand Creek Library. Anastasia Montoya, please come on up here.
Thank you, Regina, for inviting me to come, and thanks to the Sand Creek Library for giving me the opportunity to present this video to you guys. I made this video to make you guys challenge yourselves every day and challenge the stereotypes that are given to you. And without that being said, I'll let my video speak for itself.
I see you when you're looking at me, and I'm thinking, what do you see? Black or white, it's just ain't right. It's not about my ethnicity. All the controversy, images cause everyone's so focused on your flaws, worried about your color or the origins of your mother.
Different colors,
Different colors,
it don't matter.
it don't matter.
That black man ain't a robber or a threat to your daughter.
Different colors,
Different colors,
it don't matter.
it don't matter.
The darker that the color, well, the more that they'll be bothered.
Society's getting crazier and crazier. Stereotypes getting wilder and wilder. All the labels you'll get, no one will ever regret. The way you feel after the worst is said. Different colors,
Different colors,
it don't matter.
it don't matter.
That white man ain't a shooter or racist enabler.
Different colors,
Different colors,
it don't matter.
it don't matter.
We should all just come together and ignore the irrelevant hater.
Different colors,
Different colors,
it don't matter.
it don't matter.
That Mexican ain't a gardener, nor is he a drug dealer.
Everyone is an individual. You are an individual. In times of crisis like Hurricane Maria, we all come together as one. We don't see color, we see people suffer. A crisis shouldn't be the reason we come together. We need to come together no matter what. Don't let race classify us, separate us, or destroy us. Make a change for our future generation.
I want to ask her a couple questions here on your film. What was the impetus and the passion behind that? I mean, what was going on in your life that made you want to produce that film?
I just saw a lot of things going on in the world that I didn't like, and I thought that the teenagers around me should be informed that they have a voice. I'm only 16, and here I am making a video that some people don't agree with and some people agree with, and I thought that everyone else needed to know. Well,
yeah, so you took action with it, and so how can you, at 16, what would you say to all of us when we have those same type of dreams and passions, and we have something that we're just screaming to get out? What should we do with that, and how do we harness that passion?
Well, just take advantage of your opportunities that are received in front of you. I didn't think I'd be making a video like that until the Sand Creek Library offered an internship to only 2 teenagers, and I had that drive and that motivation to keep on going, and it was a lot because I was back in school and still finishing the video. So I believe if you really want something, you're going to chase after it.
All right, that's really good. Give her one more hand, ladies and gentlemen. We got to do a drawing. Anastasia. She is so quick to just leave. I just want her to do something else, and she wants to keep on going. So we have another person that just got this from Judge Walter, and this time, this person has won a laptop. A laptop. I'm trying to read the handwriting. The last name looks like Matlala. Is that like La La Land? When Judge Walter comes back, we'll do the laptop because I can't read the judge's handwriting. Do y'all know what that is? It looks like a Ray Matlala. Well, if that's your name, I probably just butchered it. So I have another. Is D in the house? Is D'Artagnan? Thank you. Okay, just had to see you because this next person that I'm going to introduce to you, it's really difficult for me to introduce this young man. And the reason why is because I have seen him grow up since he came to Colorado Springs, and what he does in our community and what he does around the world is just phenomenal. From knowing where he has come from, where his beginnings were, to where he's going to now, just being his bride to be just accepted a proposal. So it's just kind of this whole passion thing coming up. I'm in love with this man because he gives of his heart so much. He is a force to be reckoned with. He is at the United States Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs and a student at Pikes Peak Community College. He moved to Colorado Springs in the Olympic Training Center in 2010 after graduating from Lincoln West High School in Cleveland, Ohio. He is a 2-time judo Paralympic medalist and is gearing up for the 2020 Paralympic Games. And along with his best friend and former teammate Leroy Sutton, this young man gained notoriety during his senior year of high school after being featured on ESPN's story, Carry On. I hope some of y'all will go back and check out that story. It's an amazing journey, and a continuing on of that journey happened in another ESPN story. Please welcome my good friend from Colorado Springs right here and from Cleveland, Ohio, D'Artagnan Crockett.
John. How you doing? Good morning. Good morning to everybody here, and I'm so glad everyone got up early, came here for this wonderful event. I'm happy that you guys are here. Am I happy that I'm here? That's to be determined. No, I'm extremely happy to be here in front of you guys. To give a little additional backstory, there was a second documentary that was aired. It was aired in 2013. It was a sort of Where Are They Now, a sequel to the first documentary. And it gave credit to a woman who sort of went above and beyond for me and my friend Leroy to sort of help us become self-sufficient adults. And that took a lot of patience, it took a lot of love, and it took a lot of everything else in between. The old saying, it takes a village to raise a child, that was me and Leroy. We were those children who needed an entire village and then some to bring us from where we started to sort of where we are now. And go on and on about that, but I'm going to sort of start and give you a little bit more about my past and the challenges that I've faced. Around the age of 8, it sort of felt like my life kind of started all over again. Felt like it stopped and then just started all over again. At the time, my mother, Juanita, she was my cornerstone. She was my rock. And I was the 6th of 7 children, and I was her baby boy. I don't know what you're thinking. This dude's a mama's boy. Yes. Yes, I am, and I am proud of it. And like John said, I'm a force to be reckoned with, and I dare you to say something. But shortly after giving birth to my youngest sister, my mother died of a brain aneurysm. My father was the one who had told me. I'd come home from school one afternoon, and he had pulled me to the side, and he said, "Dar, sit down. I have something to tell you. Your mother is dead." And I felt no emotion in his voice, no compassion, not even a hint of sympathy. My heart sank, my throat tightened, my hands started to tremble. Sadness and anger consumed me, and my spirit was completely crushed. I wanted to cry my eyes out at the time, but tears wouldn't come. All I felt was a sharp numbness. This 8-year-old child who had seemingly just lost everything. Everything. Shortly after this devastating news, I went to live with my father, and it was just me and him for a while. I have 6 other siblings, but we were all separated because we have different fathers. They went with their father, and I went with mine. And for a while, it was just me and my dad, and things were okay. We sort of made ends meet, and that was sort of the way life went. And that was until we had got new neighbors. And we were not able to afford rent in the apartment that we lived in, so we moved into the downstairs apartment with my uncle. We split it with him. And that's when we got new neighbors, and that's when our house became a crack house or a trap house. Some of you may know, some of you may not. Those who don't know what a crack house is or a trap house, it's a house where drugs are sold and distributed to the addicts or dealers in the neighborhood. And I soon realized that my father was one of these addicts that frequent this house. And upon realizing this, I noticed that his addiction started to go from bad to worse. I wouldn't really see much of my father because he's either out at work or feeding his addiction. And the house wasn't always just empty of people. It was oftentimes empty of food as well. But luckily for me, my family knew the owners of a corner store that was just down the street, and I was able to go every now and again and get a few things off of credit until my dad was able to get home and pay him. At the time, for me, life was sort of empty. It felt lonely. It felt silent. I missed my brothers and sisters. I missed feeling safe in my own bed. Most of all, I missed my mom. But after a while, I grew to become used to the silence and loneliness, and I began to embrace it. As if it were a dear friend. At the time, for me, it was the only friend I had. Now, my story is certainly unique, but it's sadly not uncommon. Sorry about that. It's not uncommon. More and more kids are showing up on the doorstep of schools to escape their own shelter. They're afraid of what lies outside their door, and they're afraid of what lies inside their door as well. Leroy and I, growing up, we struggled with how can we make our way into a better life? We sort of weighed the limited choices that we had and tried to find out which ones would lead to a better future. And at the time, we were told that education was our key. We were told that education was our ticket to a better life. And so we went to school every day. And hoped that it was true. However, what we found at school was just as disappointing as what we found at home, if not more. Sunken teachers, a new defeated principal at the helm each year, metal detectors at every door, arrests in the hallways, gangs in the streets. And for me, Lincoln West wasn't even an abnormal high school. It wasn't nothing different than what I was used to. I'd go to school, I'd go to wrestling practice or football practice or powerlifting practice, and I'd go home, and that was it. If anything, Lincoln West was sort of a place I could go to where I can leave my extra baggage at home, where it belonged, where I just didn't want to carry it anymore. And growing up, I was never a very academic student. Like, the only future I saw for myself was more pain and struggle. And school was never very appealing to me because I grew up around teachers that it kind of felt like they went out of their way to make school unappealing for students. The most memorable comment that I've heard from a lot of teachers is that whether you pass or fail, I'm going to get my paycheck anyway, so I don't care what you do. And it wasn't just one teacher, it wasn't just one grade, it was many teachers through a lot of different grades. And it showed me that these teachers, these authority figures, didn't care about me getting an education or learning anything, so why should I? Spend 8 hours a day with these people, and this is the attitude that they're showing me. And my attitude that I want to show back is that I'm not going to care about my future because no one else does. And at Lincoln West, there were no real consistent messages telling us that students were valued or that I was loved. Honestly, I felt that all my choices were very limited because of my circumstances. The running theme that I got from most inner city teachers was that they were glorified babysitters. And when Lisa approached me and Leroy about doing a feature story on our friendship, we were both very hesitant. Leroy, especially. That's because when you're an African-American male born into poverty, most people tend to believe they already have you figured out. It's because we fit this sort of typical inner-city black kid stereotypes. Poor, unintelligent, unmotivated thugs from drug-ridden neighborhoods and broken homes. On top of that, we each have a disability. I'm legally blind. Most people call me the blind kid before knowing my actual name. And Leroy, he's clearly a double amputee. And in our society, when you have a disability, most people tend to judge you by the things you cannot do rather than the things you can do. In the eyes of the people in our society, when you have a disability, there isn't much that you can do. So Leroy and I sort of had this trifecta thing going on. We're poor, we're black, and we're disabled. That's 3 strikes against us, and most people have already written us off. And growing up, I can tell when people doubted us. I can tell when people would see us and say, there's nothing special about these kids. They're not going to amount to much. Kids like these aren't worth the time of investing into. And the thoughts of these people make me sad, angry, and just terrified all at the same time. I didn't want to be judged by circumstances I had no control over. I was hurt. I was hurt by the looks of disapproval that I would get from random strangers on a daily basis just for living in my own skin. And because people didn't expect much from me and Leroy. We didn't really expect much from ourselves either. And I was so afraid of what the future held for me because I didn't know what I would do. I didn't know what I could do. And my environment, along with the self-doubt that I carried, it led me to believe that maybe they're right. Maybe I'm not capable of much. Maybe I am useless. And I started to become a victim of my own insecurities and self-loathing. However, that was until when I was 16 years old, my dad's coworker spoke 3 words to me that would quickly change my very core belief about who I was and what I was destined for. He had heard from my dad, because my dad is a big talker. My dad loves talking about me and my accomplishments and what I was doing. And at the time, I was on a couple different sports teams, and he had heard from my dad that I was athletic, and he heard that I sang in my church choir when I was younger. And one day, I was like sort of passing through the restaurant, and he put me aside, and he was like, "You lift weights, kick ass, and sing? Damn, kid, you're destined for greatness." Destined for greatness. At first, I was convinced he wasn't talking about me because I'm like, dude, have you seen me? Those aren't 3 words that go with this persona. But then I quickly grabbed hold of those words. I began writing them everywhere, on top of my school notebooks, on top of like drawings I would do. And these 3 words made me realize that there was something inside me that wanted to be more than just a blind kid. And I immediately began to fight for that something more. I mean, at the time, I had no idea what that something more was. I just knew it had to be better than what I had. And around this time, like I said, I was on 3 different sports teams. I played football, I was on a powerlifting team, and I wrestled. And being on those teams for the first few months, no one knew that I was legally blind. It's because I didn't want them to know. And honestly, if it wasn't for being on a sports team where I had to keep my grades up, we had to fill out an eligibility card every week and just saying like what our grades were. And if we didn't have to do that, I wouldn't have graduated. And as my talent, as my skills in wrestling particularly grew, the idea that maybe there's something more in me grew as well. I had won my first tournament, and I had won my first match, and I had taken second in my first tournament. And these two victories, these 2 small victories are huge for me at the time, because most of my life, I felt that I was on the end of a losing battle. And this was the first time I felt like I could win. I still had no idea what the future held for me. But I had it set in my heart that pain and struggle had been my past, but I was not going to let it be my future. And I was going to fight for the futures that I wanted. And this was also around the time where Lisa walked into me and Leroy's lives. And like my dad's coworker, she chose to look past our circumstances and at our potential. And so Leroy and I began to share the details of our lives cautiously, sort of testing what Lisa could handle. And testing what she could handle and seeing if she actually cared. And very soon, Leroy and I began to believe that, yeah, Lisa actually did care. And she really cared, and she showed us in so many different ways. I would say like the most important way that she showed us was the love and commitment that she devoted to us. For whatever reason that this woman had, she decided that we deserved her unconditional love. And she also saw that the poverty that we grew up in was more disabling than our physical limitations. You see, Leroy and I, we had the skills necessary to survive each day, but we lacked what we needed to be self-sufficient adults. And believing in myself wasn't enough to help me move forward in life. And although I came a long way to get to where I am today, it was not an easy road, and nor was it comfortable at all times. And it wasn't until after I'd graduated high school that I realized I had no useful tools to navigate through this through the real world that I was just plunged into. I had no budgeting skills, didn't know how to manage a bank account. I didn't even know how to save money properly. And this was the case for me and so many other students and classmates who graduated with me. My life experience taught me how to endure problems, but nothing taught me how to solve them. And that's just the problem, isn't it? When people typically see an inner city kid sort of struggling at the teenage level in high school, they'll sort of pity them. But the moment that kid turns 18 and hits the real world, all of a sudden they're supposed to have all these skills that they were never taught. That's not how that works. I realized that in order to escape the grip of poverty, I had to learn how to be financially stable. It was a skill that was never taught growing up. It wasn't taught in the home and it wasn't taught at school. It was something it was knowledge that I had to seek out. And I also learned that just throwing money at people in poverty is not a problem to the solution. It's not. Because if you don't have the knowledge or the necessary skills on what to do with that money, then it's all going to go down the drain anyway. And although high school had seemingly failed me and many others, I realized that there was still a vital piece to my success. I was learning, and I was pursuing a further and broader education. And a lot of that took me believing in myself and believing in my own potential, and believing that someone like me, with the circumstances that I grew up in, someone like me can be successful. Someone like me can be financially stable. Someone like me can have something that doesn't suck. And when taking on new challenges, I rarely got it right the first time. I dropped the ball many times, so many times. But instead of writing me off as lazy or unmotivated or stupid, like most people had already done, Lisa, she was in my corner and she strived to love harder. She exerted more patience than I thought possible. And as a result, she helped me pursue dreams that I didn't know to dream of. And most people would ask her why. And that's because she looked past my circumstances and looked at my potential. And as a result, my desire to succeed grew. And then moving out to the training center to here to Colorado Springs in 2010 also helped me grow and to see my potential. There, no one saw me for my disability. They only saw me for my abilities and what I was capable of. I trained alongside Olympians as well as Paralympians, none of whom have treated me as any differently. My coach, Ed Liddy, is someone who took an enormous risk on me because he was the one who invited me here to Colorado to train at the Olympic Training Center. And at the time, I knew nothing of judo. The idea was for me to qualify for the 2016 Paralympic Games because at the time, London seemed impossible. Because most athletes in any Olympic or Paralympic sport typically start at a young age. I, on the other hand, knew nothing about the sport of judo until the age of 18. And so it was an enormous risk for my coach, a former Olympian himself who knows what it takes to qualify for games, to be prepared for games, to take on me. But like Lisa, he took the time to look deeper, to look past my circumstances and at my potential. And as a result, my desire to succeed grew even more, and I became a world-class athlete. And now when people like Ed and Lisa decided to start seeing and expecting good things from me, I decided that they deserved more than just good things from me. This was going to be my opportunity to shock them. This was going to be my opportunity to shock the world. And eventually, I did. I'd spent so much of my youth feeling forgotten by the world, and in many moments, I stood on top of it. And all of our lives, Leroy and I struggled with questions like, what can we do? What are we capable of? But today, with how people invested in us, how they spent time on us, and how they look past our circumstances and at our potential, we believe that there's only one thing that we cannot do, and we cannot fail. And as a result of the hope, love, and stability that seeped through the knotted mess of me and Leroy's life, we were able to really be free and pursue our true potential. Leroy had passed through 10 schools in 12 years, and now he's the first person in his family with a high school degree and now a college diploma. As of right now, Leroy is currently employed at Electronic Arts as a video game tester. And if he were here today right now, he would say that despite wrestling with the big questions, the big why questions of his accident for more than a decade, that he would much rather change this world than walk on it. I went on to become the 2014 world champion, and I'm a 2-time bronze medalist in the Paralympic Games in London as well as Rio. I am on the road to Tokyo right now. I live in Denver, where I just transferred to Metro State University, where I'm studying social work. It's where I want to make an impact in the field of drug and alcohol addiction. And one of the main things I learned in this life, the difference between making it and not making it for so many people, is having one person, at least one person who believes in you and does everything they can in their power to help you to achieve whatever dream that is. And I want to be that person for so many others. Now, as I close and get ready to walk off the stage, I want each and every last one of you to know that you all have a story. You all have a story. It's like Nicole said, everyone has a story, but you don't need to hide it. You don't need to keep it shrouded in shame. I've done it for so many years, and that doesn't promote potential, that doesn't promote happiness. You should all know that even the most broken pieces of your past, of your life, can be turned into the most beautiful moments. You should also know that no one is defined by their circumstances or how much money they have. Greatness is not exclusive to the wealthy or the physically whole. Greatness lies in each and every last one of us. And it's the path we choose to walk that defines us. Thank you.
Judge Walter's going to do that raffle of the name because she's going to read her own judge handwriting, and then I'm going to ask D'Artagnan a couple of questions, and then we're going to do a quick activity to kind of solidify some of all the presentations we've heard up until this point.
It's not my handwriting. Jonathan Bradley, you've won a laptop. Are you here?
Oh man, you're way off.
I skipped to this one. I can't read this one.
She jumped over the other one.
Jonathan?
All good. Happens to the best of us.
All right. So I assume Jonathan is with his speaker right now, and we'll catch up with him later in the day. Congratulations to Jonathan Bradley.
I was going to talk about Theo Gregory for just a second. He's about to try to sneak out of here with El Pomar. I want to give Theo a great big hand. I was going to talk about if you can't manage $1, you can't manage 1,000. If you can't manage 1,000, you can't manage 1,000,000. This guy handles $100 million right there. El Pomar Foundation, thank you for your tremendous support of this conference, Theo. We really appreciate you. All right, D'Artagnan, amazing journey, story, and everything. And I wanted to ask you just a couple questions. You talked about, adversity and why adversity either is a challenge or is not a challenge. Why do you think, or how can you help us rise? How can people rise from what they perceive as an adverse situation in their life?
Part of it, and it's an old cliche. It's something that's said to everyone. Is to actually really believe in yourself. It's to believe in your potential and believe that despite your circumstances, you can be something great. You can be something better than yourself. And that doesn't necessarily mean being a Paralympic athlete. That doesn't necessarily mean being the president. That means being the best person that you can be. That means being better today than you were yesterday. That means walking through life without regrets and just exuding that persona on everyone else you meet, and it'll become a bonfire, spreading warmth wherever you go.
Amazing. So, anybody in here ever have a negative teacher? Oh my gosh, really? Like every hand in the room goes up. So what's the difference? You're listening to this negative speak, someone that says that you cannot do. But how many have had a positive teacher? Someone that's like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to be back in their class, right? And so what are the voices that we're listening to? So the question I have for you, with inside of that is, how did you push through the attitudes of those negative teachers to find your path to this positive pathway?
For me, all my life I've been told what I can do, what I can't do, what I shouldn't do, what I won't do. And a lot of it was because of my visual impairment. I was told by doctors at an early age that your sight's going to be gone by the time you're 20, and you should not do physical sports because you'll go completely blind if you hit your head. And for me, I took that as a challenge. When they said, you can't do this, you can't do that, in my mind, I'm like, stop me. Stop me from doing it. And that was the same thing with every teacher. For a while, I did hit a wall to where I started to believe it, like I said in my talk. But being able to sit with that and then realizing that this is not it for me. This is not where my life ends. I don't care where I'm going to go, but it's not going to be in a direction that my circumstances dictate. I'm not going to be a product of my environment.
Outstanding. Thank you, D'Artagnan.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. And as a legally blind citizen of Colorado Springs, Colorado, D'Artagnan has gotten his driver's license, so I'm thankful he's moved to Denver. So I want to talk about that change. We talked about John Gravino and the long jump and shifting and changing our perspectives. And I know we've been sitting for a little bit, so I want you to do something for me. I want you to stand up. Just stand up real quick. Just stand up. I like that. Oh, gosh, really? Oh, my gosh. Now, since you're on your feet, I want you to turn to your neighbor. Just turn to either somebody you know or don't know. And I want you to face that individual. Face that individual. If you have threes, you can do it in threes. Okay? Now, when you're facing that individual, I want you to take one step closer to that individual. Yeah, don't look at me. Look at the person. You know, if you haven't met them, shake their hand, introduce yourself. Now, once you have taken that one step closer in that personal space, I want you to look up and down their body. Look up and down take it all in. Just take everything in, from the shoes to the head, from the Rudy to the Tootie. Now, once you've taken it all in, I want you to do an about face, go back to back about face, and then change 3 things about your appearance. Change 3 things about your appearance. Go back to back. Don't let the other person see you. And change 3 things about your appearance. Change 3 things about your appearance. Change 3 things about your appearance. When you have done that, flip back around and guess the 3 things that were changed. Give your neighbor a tap on the shoulder. Guess the 3 things that were changed. When you have guessed those 3 things, just face forward. When you've guessed those 3 things, face forward. When you've guessed the 3 things, face forward. Still stay on your feet. When you've guessed the 3 things, face forward. Very good, very good. All right, up in the balcony. Awesome. Okay, now, series of questions. You can yell it out. I have good ears, I can hear. What was the very first thing I asked you to do? Oh my gosh, and I did this exercise last week and people just had all kind of things. Stand up. Now, how many said in their head, in their mind, they said, oh my gosh, another freaking speaker's gonna ask me to get out of my comfort zone and stand up. I just wanna sit here, just talk to me. I don't wanna move out of my seat. Please, just don't make me move. Who said that? Who was that? Thank you for being honest, awesome. So, oftentimes when change is being presented before us, we resist the change that's coming to us by the medium and the mechanism of where it comes from. So we resist it. We resist the standing up. Then I asked you to do what? Find a partner and then do what? Take a step closer. And then I asked you to do what? Shake their hand, yes, and then Look up and down. Yes, look up and down their body with it. Now, when I asked you to look up and down that person's body with significant intent, how many felt extremely comfortable doing that? Awesome. We got about 8 to 10 people that did that. The Colorado College Campus Police want to see you on the outside when you get there. What happens with that is when we don't really know what we're looking at when change is coming before us. So what is this thing going on? What's this change about to happen? I don't really get it. Why am I doing this activity and exercise? And after that, I asked you to do one thing. I asked you to turn around, do an about face, and change 3 things. Now, when you change those 3 things, how many of you actually took something off? Hands held high. Hands held high. Get a good consensus here. About 90%, looks like about 90% of the room took something off. Good. How many put something on? Quite a few less. What this represents that when change happens, when something happens in our lives that has impacted us in some type of a way, and it's a change that's going to happen, like D'Artagnan was talking about, how do you even handle your mother passing away? When something that significant happens in your life, we always think that we're going to lose something, and that loss is signified by what we take off. It's the easiest thing. And when you took something off, how many saw somebody else taking something else off, and you said, oh, that's a great idea, I'm going to take that off too? No, you didn't say it? Yes, okay, great, we got some of that. Because we often, birds of a feather flock together. So if we hang around people that are always kind of taking things off and doing this negative thing, we often will follow that trend. But what we need to be looking for and who we need to be looking for are those people who are putting things on. So in this conference, look for those individuals who are seeing the opportunity despite the obstacle. Now you may take your seats. The final thing I want you to realize is when you sat back down, how many of you straighten your lanyards up, put your tags back on, straighten your belts up, got your hair back together? How many kind of put yourselves back together before you sat back down? Right, good about 80% of the room. The final point is change sustainable? When you come to this conference and you are learning this information, are you going to leave this place the same way that you came in and go right back to the same person that you were? What we need to be doing is look for one thing that we can implement into our lives from this opportunity to create the opportunity despite the obstacles and challenges that might be before you. I want to introduce you to the founder of this conference, Judge Regina Walter, to really walk you through the day, but also her heartbeat of why she placed this conference together. I think you're going to get some valuable insights in to the creator and founder of the Educating Children of Color Conference. So please welcome back, once again, Judge Regina Walter.
So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why this conference, and then I'm going to talk to you about logistical stuff. And I just wanted to check the time. So part of the reason that we put on this conference is because of a philosophy that's been expressed by Marian Wright Edelman, which is that you can't be what you can't see. And so we put on this conference so that you have an opportunity to see people in roles you might not contemplate. Today we're having pilots speak to you. We're having doctors speak to you. We're having an astronaut speak to you. So the point is to expose you to opportunities that you haven't visualized up to this point, and to give you an opportunity to examine all kinds of opportunities. I guess I used opportunity twice there. I want to tell you why I do this conference. I've been a judicial officer for 30 years. I've been on the bench since I was 28 years old. I was the youngest judicial officer in the state of Colorado. And I was a juvenile magistrate for 21 of those years. And as the juvenile magistrate, I determined who stayed in detention and who left detention. And I thought I treated everybody the same, regardless of race. And in 1995, way before you guys were born, I'd already been on the bench for 8 years. And I went to a conference in Reno, Nevada about disproportionate minority confinement, about the fact that brown and black people are more likely to be locked up than white people, or the rate of locking them up is higher. And I thought, one, that I was perfect, and two, that I was definitely better than this sea of older white men, which is what most judges are or were at that time. And I was there 3 days when I realized that if you are a black male and you came into the detention center on crack cocaine charges, then I assumed that you were a dealer. And because you were a dealer, you didn't get a substance abuse evaluation, you didn't get treatment, and you didn't get out of detention. But if you were a white male on exactly the same charges, I treated you as if you were a user. And as a user, you got a substance abuse evaluation, you got treatment, and you got out of detention. And for 8 years, I had been treating people differently based on the color of their skin without ever knowing it. So I've spent the last 22 years, and will spend the rest of my life, trying to undo the damage that I did. So thank you. So this conference itself is a product of my passion to eliminate disproportionate minority confinement. My choice for our future is that no one is in poverty, but we know that people of color are more likely to be in poverty. My vision for this country and our future is that people don't live in environmental degradation, that people don't live where their air is unsafe to breathe, where the paint on their walls is unsafe, where the mold in their house makes them at risk for health issues. But we know that people of color are more likely to be exposed to environmental hazards in their living situations. My goal for our country and my vision for our future and the choice that I am working towards is that everybody receive an excellent education. But we know that children of color and children of poverty are more likely to be in schools, and this is not true in Colorado Springs, but they're more likely to be in under-resourced schools. They're more likely to have inadequate access to educational opportunities. And we also know that despite my passion to eliminate disproportionate minority confinement, more people of color are locked up than their white counterparts. So, it's our future. It's our choice and our future to change those statistics, to change those outcomes, to create a world that is a country that is equitable for everyone, and to be again, and I don't think we are right now, a leader in making that happen, or those values happen across the world, not across. So, let's talk about logistics a little bit. First off, I haven't thanked anybody yet. So let's thank John Register, let's thank D'Artagnan Crockett, and let's thank Antonio Soto, let's take Anastasia, let's thank Nicole. And then I want to thank we have a lot of sponsors. El Pomar, Theo Gregory just left. Colorado College is our biggest sponsor, and their staff is amazing. They take care of me, and they take care of you. But we also receive funding from the Emmanuel Missionary Baptist Church, from Flying Horse Realty, from the Katunga Realty team. We receive money from Pikes Peak Community College. We receive support from the University of Colorado at Colorado Springs. We receive, I just said money from Pikes Peak Community College. We receive a ton of support from PPCC. And I left, oh, Anastasia. I wondered what I did with this. That's Anastasia's t-shirt. What I was looking for was my program. So when you're trying to figure out where you're supposed to be during the course of the day, your directions are on your name tag. Thank you. So usually it would say the class, the name of the class, but for the entirety of the day, your schedule, the room you're supposed to be in, when you're supposed to be there, is on your name tag. It's a little bit inconvenient to take it off and look, but do it, and that will ensure that you're in the right place. If you are looking for a room or a building and you can't find it, look for the men in purple. Omega Psi Phi fraternity are your people movers here today. We owe them an incredible debt of gratitude. Yeah, good job. All right, we're not finished. Okay, so the other thing is that the Educating Children of Color Summit Committee provides free SAT classes from now until April when you take the SAT. If you want to sign up for SAT classes, you can do it at the ECOC desk out front here. So that's one piece of information. If we have adults here who are here chaperoning their kids, if you want to sign up for the Diversity University for Adams State University credit, or pick up your certificate of completion, they can also be obtained at the Educating Children of Color information desk outside. Now I have my program and my notes. We also owe a debt of gratitude to G.E. Johnson, the Carl Idle Grant, Tracy Scott, who sponsors a scholarship in the name of his mother for teenage or single moms. The Emmanuel Missionary Baptist Church is also sponsoring scholarships this year. The Castaway Foundation. Michelle Strube here and Jordan Strube, who for the 5th year in the row are giving away a $1,000 Fairness for All scholarship. And then we have multiple individual donors. We also owe a debt of gratitude to Colorado Technical University, Falcon School District 49, Academy School District 20, Rebecca Myers, Mitty and Manny Pedraza, and Grant Dewey. All right, let's give it up for our sponsors. We celebrate the Educating Children of Color Summit on this weekend every year. Why do you think that is? Martin Luther King Jr., it's the weekend that we celebrate Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. This year signifies the 50th anniversary of his assassination. And as a nation, how many of you, as a nation, we still struggle with racism, despite Martin Luther King's dream. We still struggle for inequity for people who are different, people who are differently abled, people who let's look at all the ways in which we discriminate against people. We frequently discriminate people who don't look like us, who don't sound like us, who are not shaped like us, who don't operate physically like us, who don't communicate like us. This weekend is an opportunity to think about all the ways that you want to learn to be more inclusive and to eliminate the barriers for people who don't look like you, who don't sound like you, who don't communicate like you, who don't move like you, who are not shaped like you. So I hope for your future, I hope that you choose for our future to stand up, Nicole, that you embrace your passion, you have a vision, and you act on it. Thank you very much. And so you guys are, oh no, we're giving away something. Okay. I couldn't read the name anyway, so I'm just going to make it up. So there's 3 possible first names: Andy, Amy, or Anaya. Maltala. Anyone here who has a name close to Matala or Matala? No? All right. I'm going to go get another name. All right. Come on up. Oops. Congratulations. Let's look at her. All right. Thank you. So at the end of the day, it'll be out there and you have to sign some paperwork.
Okay, I'm not sure what I want.
A laptop.
Oh,
And I want a laptop.
thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Over the course of today, we're giving away 19 laptops and $16,000 in scholarships and educational awards. Here's the deal. You have to be here at the end of the day to win, because at the end of the day, we're announcing all of the names. Over the course of the day, if you'd like to see if you have won anything up to this point, then we'll be posting them at the Educating Children of Color information table right out here. So we'll keep a running total. During lunchtime, excuse me, that's not true. It's about, so your lunch is in this building. The adults' lunch is in the other building. Your lunch is in this building, but you can't eat in this room. You are permitted to eat in the classrooms. You're permitted to eat on the floor out there. You're permitted to eat on any of the benches and the seats out there or outside the building. But 12 o'clock, you have to be in this room, because at 12 o'clock, you're going to learn what your rights are if you encounter the police. And every one of us over the course of our lifetime is going to encounter the police. So be in here at 12. Okay, that one more announcement. So the closing ceremony will be in here also. You'll see Suave and his dancers dance, and then we'll give away money and laptops. During your seminar, so 8th and 9th graders are at the first seminar at 10:15 in Cornerstone Theater. During the seminar, we'll be giving away backpacks, but you also, in your backpack, everyone take out your backpack. Take it out. Look in there. You should have a bingo card. It's not really a bingo card. It's something like a bingo card. Does everyone have one? It's just a sheet. It's a sheet with a grid on it. Okay. While you're over there looking at the vendors, you're going to interview vendors, and they're going to initial your sheet. and then you're going to dump them into a box before you, this is what they look like. You're going to dump them into a box before you go into the Celeste Theater. And in the Celeste Theater, they're going to give away $50 gift cards. So, during your seminar, make sure you get your bingo card filled out, drop it in the box, put your name and your school on the bottom of it, and we'll be giving away $50 gift cards during that session. All right, you guys go out there and change the world.